When you cease your search, the sacred awakenings find you. I never expected a single dream to change everything. It was a night drenched in silence, yet the air shimmered with something electric. My heart raced as I lay in bed, the shadows dancing across the walls like spirits whispering secrets. Each breath felt heavier, every tick of the clock echoing like a drum. Doubt gnawed at me, sharp as glass, forcing me to question every choice I'd made. Was I truly lost, or was this just a path of awakening I had yet to uncover? The moon hung high, casting a silvery glow that felt like a spotlight on my restless soul. I closed my eyes and let the darkness swallow me, a pit ripe with uncertainty, but then came the vision. A burst of light exploded in my mind as I stood at the edge of a great chasm, the ground beneath me uncertain. The edges of the abyss felt like the very fabric of fate, threading itself through my veins. I stood there, suspended, caught between reality and the haunting call of the unknown. As I leaned forward, I could almost hear Ida whisper carried on the wind, fragrant with the scent of jasmine, as if nature herself was trying to communicate. Signs surrounded me, flickering like fireflies in a forgotten meadow. A raven cawed nearby, its black feathers glinting ominously in the dim light. I could feel the air tremble, thick with promise and dread. My palms were clammy, a tightness in my chest as if the universe was holding its breath. I was a seeker, but the harder I searched, the more elusive the answers became. Questions buzzed in my mind like bees, relentless and frantic. What did it mean? Why now? The moonlight became a halogen spotlight illuminating my fears, my desires, and the haunting sensation of something greater just out of reach. Would I fall? Or would I soar? In that moment of stillness, just before dawn broke, I felt a shift, a quiet realization, perhaps a spark of hope. What if I stopped searching, let it all unfold? But as soon as the thought crossed my mind, the world around me shifted violently. I could sense something approaching, a shadow lurking at the threshold of my consciousness, ready to pull me into a deeper understanding. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The dawn broke with a clarity I hadn't anticipated, the light flooding through my window like a baptism. Each ray carried whispers of yesterday, visions of dreams, heavy with unanswered questions. I rose from my bed, a sense of urgency rushing through me, eager to step into the world awaiting beyond my threshold. As I ventured outside, the chill of morning air brushed against my skin, invigorating yet bracing. Instead of a solitary path, I felt the weight of countless footsteps etched into the earth beneath me. Those who had tread this journey before me, seekers of their own truths, each had left their mark, guiding me as I continued to walk. I strolled through a nearby park, which had transformed overnight into a tapestry of life and color. Trees, those stalwart guardians, held secrets within each rustling leaf. I paused beneath one sprawling oak, its branches reaching out like arms embracing the sky. In its shade, I felt a connection, a pulse that resonated with the heartbeat of the universe. There was something to learn here, a lesson hidden beneath the surface of this very moment. As I leaned against the gnarled trunk, a soft rustling caught my attention. A small, vibrant butterfly emerged, fluttering its delicate wings as if it were testing the air, seeking its place in the world. It danced around me, playful and free, a symbol of transformation. What if my journey mirrored this butterfly's path? What might emerge from my own metamorphosis if I allowed myself to embrace the chaos of change? The thrill of curiosity sparked a different kind of search within me, not for answers but for experiences. Each moment was an opportunity, a reminder of the lessons embedded in the everyday. As I wandered, I noticed the fragments of life unfolding around me, a child chasing a ball, laughter spilling from their lips, an elderly couple sitting on a bench, their fingers intertwined, sharing a lifetime of stories in their silence. Time stretched, each encounter a gem to gather, and with every step, I felt the call of connection deepening, yet as I journeyed further, a deep well of introspection began to surface. What do we lose when we think we are found? The duality of seeking and being was puzzling. A spark of realization ignited a recognition that seeking might also be a form of distraction. What if the answers I sought were cloaked in the beauty of existence itself, intertwined with the laughter, the fleeting moments of joy, and even the depths of sorrow? Just then, as if the universe wanted to affirm my thoughts, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves around me, carrying the faint scent of jasmine once more. I turned, almost instinctively, following the floral trail deeper into the park. Perhaps it would lead me to an encounter or revelation I had yet to uncover. As I approached a serene pond shimmering under the sun, a figure stood at its edge, an older woman, lost in thought, her gray hair glistening like silver threads woven by time. There was a grace about her, an unspoken wisdom radiating from her presence. The moment I stepped closer, she turned, her eyes alight with a knowing that seemed to pierce through my restless spirit. "Are you searching for something?" she asked, the depth of her voice resonating within my chest. There was no judgment, merely curiosity enveloped in warmth. "I suppose I am," I admitted, unsure of how to articulate the whirlwind of emotions within me. "I feel like I'm on the verge of something, but am not quite sure what." "Ah," she mused, nodding slightly. "Sometimes the essence of our journey is found not in the destination but the conversations we have with ourselves along the way." Her gaze drifted back to the water. "It is in stillness that we can listen to the truth of our souls." The words hung between us like a bridge, leading to uncharted territories of understanding. What did it mean to listen to the truth of my soul? Could I find clarity not in answers, but through the questions themselves? As I contemplated these thoughts, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows that intertwined with the twilight. The world around me began to blend into hues of orange and purple, and with that came a new set of reflections, a myriad of possibilities creeping in like twilight itself, beautiful yet haunting. That I stood there, grappling with a single question that lingered, suspended in the air: could it truly be acceptable to revel in the unknown? With every heartbeat, I wondered how long I could remain in this threshold, this glorious space between seeking and becoming. The sun surrendered to the horizon, casting the world in a soft embrace, as though the day itself was caressing the night goodbye. I felt the weight of moments past, the laughter, the wisdom in my heart, while fear of the unknown draped over me like a cloak. The questioning spirit hadn't relinquished its grip on my thoughts, lingering like the last light of day. As I turned to leave the pond, a flicker of movement caught my eye. A flock of birds took flight, their harmonious cacophony echoing through the air. They danced against the canvas of the evening sky, orchestrating a splendid display of freedom. Their journey seemed so instinctive, yet guided by an ancient knowledge, an understanding of where to go and when to fly. I longed to embody such confidence, to move in alignment with some unseen current. Lost in contemplation, I wandered along the water's edge, my shadows now stretching towards the cool earth. With each step, I became increasingly aware of the gentle rhythm of my heart, a reassurance that perhaps missing pieces were not needed to complete a puzzle but rather elements of a rich tapestry. A rustle beside a cluster of wildflowers stirred my attention. There, in the grass, a stone sat, smoothed and round, glistening like a tiny star fallen from the cosmos. I crouched down, examining this humble gem. What stories had it witnessed? Was it not also part of a greater narrative, just as I was? The stone sat still, undeterred by the chaos around it, embodying a tranquility I yearned to cultivate within myself. "You're keen on unearthing the wonders around you," a voice chimed, pulling my mind back from its wanderings. I looked up to find a young boy, knees smudged with grass stains, eyes shining with an innocent curiosity that seemed to rival my own. "That I suppose so," I replied, smiling at his enthusiasm. "Do you think rocks can hear?" he asked, tilting his head as if the very earth held secrets waiting to be shared. "Maybe they do," I mused, suddenly captivated by his question. "What do you think they hear?" "Everything," the boy exclaimed, his enthusiasm like a spark igniting a fire. "They hear the wind, the animals, even our thoughts. He leaned closer to me, eyes gleaming with conviction. I think they are wise because they've been here a long time. A wave of warmth washed over me. Here was a child who grasped a profound truth often cloaked by adulthood, the idea that life's wisdom often resides in the simplest of observations. The rocks, the trees, the very essence of nature seemed alive with stories and knowledge begging to be acknowledged. Maybe we should listen more often, I suggested, sharing this small revelation born from our exchange. Yeah. He nodded, bouncing on the balls of his feet. Maybe that's what the universe wants us to listen and learn. As the boy dashed away, laughter trailing behind him like bubbles released into the air, I returned my gaze to the stone. Could wisdom truly be found in stillness and observation? Perhaps the world was filled with teachers in the most unexpected forms. With the encroaching twilight settling around me, I retraced my steps back toward the park's entrance, pondering the boy's belief that the earth and its elements carried wisdom. How many moments had I let slip past, unacknowledged? How often had my focus remained on the grand journey while I ignored the serendipities cradled in ordinary encounters? As dusk enveloped the world, I envisioned the myriad of beings that inhabited this realm, each connected in an intricate web of existence. What if every interaction was a thread? Every question, every moment of stillness, a stitch in the fabric of my becoming? Still, beneath these budding insights, a deeper, haunting question loomed within. If I were to cease my seeking and simply embrace what is, could I awaken to truths that were already woven into my being? Would I have the courage to let go of the fear that gripped me and allow those sacred awakenings to find me instead? With each step, as shadows grew longer, I acknowledged a truth both liberating and daunting: the greatest adventure may very well lie in relinquishing control. My heart thumped steadily in my chest, a reminder that within the unknown, the possibilities were endless. The next day unfolded as a tapestry of sunlight and shifting clouds, reflecting my internal dance of uncertainty and illumination. I found myself drawn back to the pond, its still waters promising clarity amid the din of my thoughts. As I approached, vibrant dragonflies flitted above the surface, their glimmering bodies darting to and fro with a frenetic energy that made me smile. Settling on a bench bordering the water, I closed my eyes momentarily, inhaling the fresh aroma of damp earth intermingling with the fragrance of wildflowers. I tried to shed the weight of yesterday's questions, focusing instead on the symphony of nature's whispers: the rustling leaves, the soft croaks of frogs, the rhythmic splashes from fish breaking the surface. In this stillness, a sudden thought surfaced. What if listening truly was an ardent, intimate exchange between the seeker and the seer? Opening my eyes, I noticed a figure seated further down the path, sketching fervently in a worn notebook. Intrigued, I stood and ambled toward them, my curiosity guiding my steps. It was an elder, silver hair cascading like a waterfall over her shoulders, pen moving as though it danced to a melody only she could hear. "Hello," I greeted, a warmth blossoming in my chest at her focused determination. She looked up and smiled, her eyes sparkling with the wisdom of ages. "Ah, a fellow seeker of stories," she said, motioning for me to join her. "What draws you to these tranquil shores?" I hesitated for a moment before responding. "I'm trying to find answers, truths hidden beneath layers of noise." The elder nodded, her pen continuing its dance across the page. "Ah, but sometimes answers arise not from seeking, but from embracing the pause. Watch." She gestured to the pond. "The water holds tales of abandonment and redesign. All you must do is listen." As I followed her gaze, I saw ripples distort the glassy surface, revealing glimpses of the unseen. Perhaps she was right, tranquility held a wealth of insights waiting to be unearthed. I sat beside her, and together we absorbed the quiet unfolding. After a while, she turned to me and said, "You find yourself in a beautiful liminality between seeking and accepting, don't you?" I nodded, surprised by her insight. "Yes, it feels as if I'm at the edge of something vast yet undiscovered." With a gentle smile, she closed her notebook, eyes glimmering with a knowing that transcended words. "Each moment of uncertainty is a space for growth. Your journey can teach you the sacredness of letting go." "What do you mean?" I asked, leaning in. "Life isn't a series of milestones to conquer but a myriad of choices that lead you closer to your essence." She paused, choosing her words with care. "You search for what you already hold within. Fear only clouds your perception." To embrace the unknown is to free yourself, her revelation resonated, echoing in the chambers of my heart. I contemplated the notion that within my quest for external validation lay the very keys to unlock the truths residing in me. What if fear had kept me from diving into the depths of my own existence? As the elder resumed her sketching, I took a deep breath, allowing her words to cradle my thoughts. Would I dare to explore the recesses of my being to confront the fears that had shackled me so tightly? Do you hear that? She interjected, her voice laced with an excitement that caught my attention. I listened intently and, amidst the symphony of nature, a chorus of voices seemed to emerge silent yet profound. It was as though the world around us exhaled wisdom, whispering affirmations of connection and understanding. You see, she continued, a twinkle in her eye, the universe speaks through many voices. All of creation carries an energy that binds us together. The answer isn't always about finding, it's about being present within the solitude of your spirit. In that moment, the yearning for clarity became less of a desperate search and more of a gentle invitation. Beneath the blue expanse, I envisioned the path of each creature, each breeze, and each ripple creating a story woven through the fabric of existence, a story in which I, too, played a vital role. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting golden light across the pond, I thanked the elder and set off down a winding path, invigorated by her insights but still holding questions ever close. Could I truly remain in the present, embracing my uncertainties while welcoming the unfolding of sacred revelations? With each step, I felt the heartbeat of the earth synchronizing with mine, propelling me toward an unknown that no longer seemed intimidating but beautifully rich with promise. The nature of my journey shifted not from seeking to allowing, from grip to flow, and I couldn't help but wonder what awaited me in this unpredictable dance. What wonders would uncover themselves if I simply chose to be not just in the world, but wholly present within my own unfolding story. The following morning greeted me with a sky washed in pastel hues, the dawn's light filtering through the branches, casting playful shadows on the path ahead. I felt an urge to wander deeper into the woods, driven by a hunger for new experiences that might further illuminate the lessons I had begun to grasp. As I ventured along the well-trodden trail, the forest enveloped me, a serene cocoon of rustling leaves and birdsong. Each sound seemed to invigorate my spirit, a reminder of the vibrancy of life surrounding me. After a while, I stumbled upon a clearing, an oasis shimmering with sunlight, and in its center stood an ancient oak tree, its gnarled roots intertwined with the earth, spreading out like arms welcoming all who passed. Drawn towards it, I admired its majesty, feeling the strength emanating from its trunk, the wisdom accumulated within its rings. That I settled against its sturdy base, closing my eyes as I absorbed the pulse of nature, synchronizing my breath to the rhythm of the wind whispering through the leaves. Then, unexpectedly, a soft rustling broke the silence, pulling my attention. I opened my eyes to find a small, curious fox perched nearby, its ears pricked forward, observing me with an enigmatic gaze. "Hello there," I spoke softly, intrigued. The fox tilted its head, as if considering my words. "What wisdom do you carry in your heart?" To my surprise, the fox padded closer, stopping just inches from me, its bright eyes holding an ancient spark that made my heart race. In that moment, I knew this was more than mere wildlife, it was a messenger appearing at a precipice of my journey. Instinctively, I reached out a hand, and as our eyes locked, a profound understanding pulsed between us. I was reminded of the connection I had with all beings, the weaving together of energies transcending the superficial. The fox, unafraid, brushed against my leg, leaving behind an electric sensation, and in its presence, I felt the burden of my questions releasing, like leaves surrendering to the autumn breeze. I understood, then, that the answers I sought were not confined to the mind. They pulsated in the world around me, alive in the interaction of every creature, every elemental force. As the fox finally darted away into a thicket, a question rippled through me: had I truly begun to uncover the nature of connection, that the journey thrived on communion rather than isolation? Motivated to explore this newfound understanding, I closed my eyes once more, relaxing into the embrace of the oak, surrendering to the embrace of stillness. My mind wandered through memories of past encounters, each intimate moment woven together like a tapestry: the conversations with strangers, the laughter shared with friends, the quiet moments spent in my own company. Each connection, whether fleeting or enduring, seemed to mirror the interconnectedness of our spirits, but the peace was soon disturbed by a sudden gust of wind that swept through the clearing, rustling the leaves and raising the hair on my arms. I opened my eyes, feeling a cold shiver run down my spine as a low, melodic hum began resonating in the space around me. I could not see its source, yet it felt as if the very essence of the woods began to vibrate, as if every leaf, every creature, and the air itself conspired to weave a secret message. Intently, I focused on the sound, letting it wash over me, feeling as if a deep ancestral memory was being awakened, a memory of unity and instinct, of belonging. I closed my eyes again, allowing the hum to carry me deeper into contemplation. What was it that connected all living things? Was there a universal truth, an underlying wisdom that could guide me in aligning my soul with the rhythm of existence? With the last notes of the hum dissipating into silence, I felt a tether tighten within me, drawing me to an inquiry that stirred like wildlife in the underbrush. Was this the call of my spirit urging me to seek the sacred in the simplicity of being? I wondered if perhaps the answers I chased were lessons to be gleaned from the dance of life itself. Floating just beyond my fingertips, waiting patiently for me to unwrap the experiences of everyday living, the sun began its descent, painting the firmament in colors aflame, and I slowly made my way back down the path, the echoes of my encounters lingering in the twilight. With every step, I pondered, how often had I overlooked the magic within ordinary interactions, taking for granted the connections that shaped my understanding. How could I continue to be receptive to the symphony of the universe, celebrating the intricate dance of existence? Each question multiplied within me, weaving a rich and intricate tapestry of possibilities, yet the answers remained elegantly elusive. But perhaps that was the point. The exploration itself might hold the greatest wisdom of all. Ultimately, what if embracing the unknown meant surrendering to the sacred truth that I was already a part of the wondrous unfolding of life? As twilight deepened, I felt a shift within me, a gentle pulling toward an unseen destination. The path wound onward, the woods transforming around me like a living canvas, shadows stretching longer, colors dimming yet intensifying in their earthiness. Something intangible brushed against my senses, a knowing that the journey was far from over. That I continued deeper into the forest, my feet guided by the whisper of the wind and the call of the unseen. Each step resonated with the heartbeat of the earth beneath me. In this quietude, the earlier revelations cascaded, revealing threads of colorful inquiry I hadn't yet grasped. My introspection shifted into a profound experiencing of being rather than merely reflective thought. Soon, I came upon a brook, its waters gurgling playfully over smooth stones, bubbling with a clarity that sparkled even in the dwindling light. Drawn in by its lively spirit, I knelt beside it, letting the coolness of the water trickle through my fingers. In that moment, the same hum I had sensed earlier returned, echoing beneath the surface of the flowing current, a playful song that seemed to emanate from the heart of nature itself. What secrets lie beneath this surface? I found myself murmuring, the words swallowed by the gentle rush of water. If the brook could speak, what would it share about the journey it had taken through the forest, the stones and sediment it had worn smooth, the reflections it had offered to those who paused to drink from its clarity? A silver flash caught my eye, and I turned to see a fish darting swiftly beneath the surface, weaving through shimmering sunlight that danced upon the water. Watching its effortless movements, I was reminded of the fox and the surrender I felt while in its presence. Just like the fox, this fish reminded me of the interconnectedness of our experiences, the way we pushed forward in search of our purpose, flowing with the currents of life. Suddenly, a breeze swept through, causing ripples across the brook and whispering secrets I could almost comprehend. I strained to listen, hoping to catch the elusive message it bore. The water spoke of adaptation and resilience, of finding the path of least resistance while still pushing against rocks that impeded it. I closed my eyes, letting my heart open to this lesson. Perhaps life itself was a constant dance of yielding and asserting, a harmonizing between desires and realities. As I stood, the shadows grew deeper, yet I felt a warm glow rising within me, illuminating the thoughts coiling like tendrils of smoke. Could this be a call to trust the flow of my experiences rather than resist? I had carried a weight, a notion that clarity should manifest from defined questions and answers. What if the truth resided in the journey, in the ebbs and flows? Much like the brook itself, I lingered by the water, allowing these reflections to wash over me, their beauty woven into my understanding. As the last rays of sunlight slipped away, my gaze fell upon the surface of the brook, the fading light twinkling like stars on a midnight canvas. I realized, with a sweet pang of longing, that the answers might not be the destination. Could it be the journey toward understanding that brought us alive, immersing us in wonder, compelling us to dive deeper into the vast unknown? A rustle in the underbrush snapped my attention, breaking the tranquility that settled around me. I turned, and standing just beyond the clearing was a magnificent doe, her form luminous in the dusk. Our eyes met, pooling our breaths in an invisible bond. In that moment, I felt the ancient wisdom pulsing between us, a reminder of intuition, a grounding in presence, an affirmation that each being carried its own wordless truth. As she stepped further into view, a question flickered in my heart, challenging the foundation of my earlier thoughts. What if the quest for answers was simply a pathway to learning the language of trust and surrendering to the mysteries that unfold when we open ourselves to being fully alive in the present? With the doe slowly fading back into the shadows, I stood by the brook, feeling the weight of the world lighten around me as the evening deepened. My heart ached with a bittersweet harmony, pondering how many other beings shared this same quiet wisdom in their silent observations. In this vast orchestration of life, what was my part, and how could I call upon that trust to guide me forward? These questions fluttered in my chest, echoing the brook's gentle gurgle. With every beat, I felt the call of the sacred, an invitation into a deeper communion with the world and the unseen that pulsated through it all. Would I remain open enough to surrender to the current, letting the sacred awakenings find me in moments yet to unfold? The night deepened, draping a velvety cloak over the forest as I moved away from the brook, my spirit buoyed by the doe's presence. Each step felt lighter, each breath filled with a newfound curiosity, and I allowed myself to wander unhurried. The path ahead twisted and turned like the thoughts racing through my mind, but I felt a gentle insistence to follow. The sounds of the woods began to shift, the symphony of chirps, croaks, and whispers weaving an enchanting tapestry of night. I paused beneath a towering tree whose branches wove intricate patterns against the moonlit sky. Something about its majesty resonated profoundly with me, as if it held the secrets of ages within its gnarled bark and sprawling roots. Here stood a sentinel, shaping its destiny with each year, stretching toward the light while embracing the darkness below. My gaze, I noticed tiny orbs of light flickering through the underbrush, like lanterns dancing in the night, a horde of fireflies, each glowing softly, unabashedly alive in the dark. I inhaled deeply, witnessing their ethereal display. They spiraled and twirled around me, transforming my solitude into a communal dance. And in that moment, I felt a pulse surging within me, my heart sinking with their harmonious rhythm. What do you want to teach me? I whispered playfully, allowing my spirit to join their spirited flickers. They seemed to respond, swirling closer, debunking the boundaries of my perception. I started to ponder the simplicity of their existence. Each firefly, alone yet together, illuminated a path, a beckoning reminder that sometimes it is in the act of luminous vulnerability that we reveal our true nature. As I continued through the nocturnal landscape, the whispers of the wind turned into a full voice, rallying words from the depth of my being. Seek not just for answers, but for connections, for stories yet to unfold. I stood still, letting the words sink in, weaving themselves into the fabric of my thoughts. What stories had I yet to learn? What connections lingered in the shadows, waiting for my heart to awaken to their significance? Around me, the vibrations of life continued to crescendo, and I was reminded of the interconnectedness of existence. Just as the brook shared its lessons through flowing encounters, perhaps I too could learn to share mine in the dance of living. I pressed deeper into the night, drawn by a sound reminiscent of distant laughter, a reverberation of joy that enveloped me, pulling me closer. The trees parting like curtains revealed a clearing alive with light and laughter. Gathered there were figures both familiar and strange, shadows dancing under the moonlight, celebrating life in a way that transcended language. Enchantingly vibrant, they glided and spun, unbound by time, united in an ecstatic connection that seemed to bridge dimensions. In their laughter echoed the sounds of my childhood, the pure delight I often lost in the noise of adulthood. A gentle nudge encouraged me to step forward, to become a part of this woven remembrance. Without hesitation, I joined them, allowing the pulse of their revelry to envelop me. Lost in their joyful abandon, I felt tendrils of memory weave through me, moments of laughter with friends, spontaneous adventures under starlit skies that had long laid dormant. I danced, each movement becoming a celebration of all that I was and all that I had yet to become. Yet, within this ecstatic stillness, I felt the flicker of an unanswered question rising again, testing my spirit. Could I carry this joy beyond the confines of this moment? As the night wore on, I observed the figures begin to dissolve into an array of shimmering light, leaving behind the whisper of their presence. A mixture of awe and longing draped itself across my heart, stirring not just a desire to relive those moments but an insatiable curiosity. How often had I rushed through life, overlooking the luminous joys that beckoned me into shared connection. Leaving the clearing, I lingered on the edge, the flickering lights fading into the night like fireflies in retreat. Questions surged inside me. How could I harness this lesson of connection, the dance of life that remains intertwined with others? How do I maintain this joy in the face of what feels challenging, holding close to the electric memories that light the path ahead, with the rhythm of the brook still echoing, and the fairies of laughter woven into my heart? I moved forward, hand in hand with the unfolding mysteries that I now trusted would find me. Would this awakening lead me deeper into the hidden tapestries of connection that lay in the vast unknown? And would I, amidst life's complexities, learn to surrender enough to embrace those luminous bursts of joy? As I wandered onward, the moonlight guiding my path with silver fingers, I felt the ground beneath my feet shift, the soft earth exhaling the sense of ancient wisdom. A deep sigh escaped my lips, mingling with the whispering breeze that danced through the trees, and for a moment, it felt as if the forest itself were breathing alongside me. Each exhale echoed an invitation, an unfurling of possibility, and I embraced the notion that the journey would unfold as it was meant to. With each step, I searched for meaning within the shadows that flitted along the outskirts of my vision. Could the darkness hold lessons as vital as the light? The question tangled with the edges of my consciousness, paired with the recollection of the figures I had danced with, reminders that joy often thrives in shared experiences, yet only when we allow ourselves to step into the unknown. The night grew deeper still, rendering the air fragrant with wet earth and blossoming night blooms. As I meandered, a subtle glow caught my gaze. I turned to see a path lined with luminous mushrooms, their bioluminescent caps gleaming like stars fallen from the sky. Intrigued, I knelt to inspect them more closely, marveling at their delicate beauty and the silent invitation they extended. What wisdom do you hold? I asked, my voice a mere murmur against the quiet backdrop. The mushrooms seemed to flicker in response, as if acknowledging my curiosity. I recalled a lesson that had been tucked away in my memory: how mushrooms form a vast network beneath the earth, their mycelium connecting trees and plants, sharing nutrients and information. They were the unseen web of life, fostering relationships in the darkness, teaching me the value of connectivity beyond physical presence. The thought coursed through me, deepening the layers of my own reflection. Could it be that I had been seeking connection outwardly, while there existed a boundless web within my own spirit, waiting to be woven? The epiphany struck me, a realization that in the quest for connection, I needed to become aware of the connections that already resided within me, the intertwined threads of joy, sorrow, and everything in between that shaped my existence. Suddenly, a soft rustle nearby broke my reverie. Curious, I turned to see a wise old owl perched gracefully upon a branch, its round eyes gleaming like moonlit pools. A sense of recognition sparked between us, and it tilted its head as if urging me to comprehend the profound silence it so naturally embraced. Teach me, I implored, a humble plea escaping my lips. What do you know of the night? Of stillness? Of the beauty found in solitude? The owl remained still, as if pondering the depth of my question, before it erupted in a soft huda sound so rich with experience that I paused to let it penetrate my being. In that moment, everything around me stilled, and the night shifted. In the span of a heartbeat, I became acutely aware of the intricate beauty enveloping me, the rustle of leaves, the vibrations of life hidden among the thickets, and the weightless energy that harmonized all of it. Quiet your mind, the owl seemed to whisper, in that stillness, discover the echoes of your heart. As the moon glowed brighter, illuminating the clearing around me, I found the courage to embrace the space within. I closed my eyes, letting the constellation of sounds meld into a singular whisper, an invitation to journey inward. As I surrendered to the stillness, visions flickered before me, memories intertwined and interwoven like the intricate patterns in the tree bark above. That I saw the faces of loved ones and felt the warmth of hugs shared, bittersweet moments of loss twined together with the laughter of simpler times, and the beauty of lessons learned through adversity. The web of my existence was vast and intricate, every thread a story telling me of endurance and resilience, of joy found amidst chaos. I marveled at this sacred tapestry, threaded deeply through pain and pleasure alike, and allowed myself to sink deeper into the glow of understanding. But just as clarity began to wash over me, a question arose, gently pushing against the edges of this newfound awareness. How do I weave these threads of joy and learning into the narrative of my life? How can I nurture the connections both within and outside of myself, allowing them to flourish while resisting the urge to erect walls? With the owl silently observing my contemplation, I felt a subtle tug, a reminder that the journey was not in the answers I sought but in the exploration of these divine questions. Perhaps I was not meant to articulate each lesson, but to live them fully, embracing the resonance of each encounter that illuminated my path. As I opened my eyes, the forest felt charged with expectancy, each whisper a call to nurture the connections constantly awakening within and around me. I took a deep breath, filled with purpose, and moved onward, eager to discover how these sacred teachings would navigate me deeper into the forest of my own heart. What more awaited me in this boundless darkness? Would I learn to treasure both solitude and connection, allowing the ebb and flow of life to guide me, seamlessly weaving my own tale into the fabric of existence? The answers felt close yet distant, waiting patiently for the next chapter to unfold. As I stepped further into the embrace of the forest, the stillness settled like a gentle blanket around me, cocooning my spirit in contemplation. The thoughts sparked by the owl's silent wisdom lingered in the air, buoying me toward a deeper understanding. The luminous mushrooms, mycelium stretched like threads of fate beneath the surface, continued to flash intermittently as if in silent dialogue with my heart. That I in my pursuit of connection and the threads woven from life's intricate tapestry, I felt a stirring beyond mere reflection. My surroundings seemed alive, humming with energy, urging me to embrace the beauty in the ever-shifting darkness. Every step I took was an affirmation of my desire to explore the depths of what lay ahead, a quiet promise, a pact made with myself to follow wherever this path would lead. Then, just as the damp air invigorated my senses, I stumbled upon a clearing. The lack of trees revealed the full brilliance of the night sky, a canvas splattered with countless stars, each one a distant echo of potential waiting to be discovered. My heart soared as I beheld the celestial view, and I whispered a prayer of gratitude into the expanse above. "Thank you for the light in this darkness," I murmured, feeling the gratitude curl back to me like a warm embrace. The sight became an invitation to ponder the vastness within and around me. A stillness reignited my curiosity about the universe's design and how I fit into the majestic pattern. Did each star possess a guidance, a memory of countless generations aligned in this moment? I felt small, yet oddly significant. Each flicker echoed the stories of souls who had wandered before me, and in that realization, I found both humility and empowerment. As I soaked in the cosmic beauty, a breeze lifted the edges of my cloak, carrying whispers from distant realms. I closed my eyes, surrendering to the breath of the wind, feeling it as a conduit through which inspiration flowed. Each gust felt like the voice of ancestors, old and wise, carrying tales of trials and triumphs, reminding me that the journey of understanding was never solitary. I was just one thread in an expansive fabric, intricately woven within the community of existence. Just then, a spark flickered to life nearby, igniting my attention. I turned, startled to see a flickering light gliding gracefully through the air, illuminating the world like a wandering star. As it approached, I recognized it as a firefly, a messenger in its own right. It hovered briefly before me, illuminating my surroundings with its incandescent glow, and for a brief moment, it seemed to connect with my spirit. "Teach me your secrets," I implored, my voice rising softly in wonder. The firefly responded by dancing in a pattern that spoke of freedom, balance, and fluidity. My heart quickened as I watched its intricate ballet, a silent reminder that beauty thrived within a natural rhythm, an ebb and flow that mirrored my own journey. In that fleeting exchange, I realized how desperately we often seek illumination without recognizing that the light often emerges from within, sometimes sparked by the smallest acts of recognition. Each luminous moment is an opportunity to embrace joy, to nurture the connections around us without demanding permanence or clarity? What if I allowed the next chapter of my life to be guided by a willingness to be vulnerable, to shine bright even in moments of uncertainty? This thought fluttered through my mind like the wings of the firefly against the silken night. As the firefly vanished into the darkened canopy, the questions returned, lingering echoes of my thoughts. How do I cultivate this light within, allowing it to glow in unison with those around me? How can I remain open to the connections yearning to be formed, even when shadows loom large? I stood amidst the clearing, the stars now shimmering with insight, and I felt a gentle stirring within my heart, a pulsating rhythm that whispered life's truths. Perhaps the key lay in embracing the luminous journeys I had yet to take, in allowing the sacred awakenings to find me. Rather than constantly searching for them, with this newfound insight, I turned my gaze back to the depth of the forest before me, feeling its magnetic pull urging me forth. The night had more stories to tell, more discoveries waiting at the intersection of mystery and connection. What wisdom would the next step reveal? What sacred awakenings awaited in the shadows? The questions lingered, inviting me onward, as I trusted that I was divinely guided on this path, one step at a time. As dawn approached, the forest began to stir, waking from its slumber with a gentle rustle, light filtering through the canopy like an awakening pulse of life. I stood at the threshold of understanding, my heart thrumming with anticipation, cradling the lessons I had gathered along my journey. I felt the earth beneath my feet connect me to something greater, an ancient wisdom binding all of existence together in a tapestry of shared experiences and intertwined destinies. Each step I took felt lighter, buoyed by a sense of purpose infused with hope and curiosity. I moved forward, eager to see where the day would lead me and how each breath would unravel the sacred mysteries I had quietly awaited. Remembering the firefly's dance, I vowed to embrace the light within me, letting it ripple out, revealing joy in each encounter. No matter how fleeting. As I walked, I considered the one truth that had begun to anchor itself in my heart. It was not in the answers that clarity emerged, but in each question, each moment of listening, and every connection that beckoned me to pause, just long enough to hear the whispers of wisdom flowing through nature itself. I had spent years grappling with the notion of fulfillment, of uncovering the secrets that would lay my soul bare. Yet here I was, on the verge of a profound realization. Stepping back from the quest, I had invited the sacred to reveal its secrets in a soft and intimate manner. I found myself drawn once more to the tranquil pond, a gathering place of reflections, depths, and new insights. As I approached the water's edge, memories of my previous encounters surged within me, the owl, the mischievous fireflies. Each one had guided me with their quiet grace, urging me to listen closely, to surrender control, and to embrace the essence of being. In that reflective stillness, the surface of the water shimmered, mirroring the sky's awakening hues. As I gazed into it, an unexpected image appeared, unfolding like petals of a blossoming flower, a vision of interconnectedness grounded in love, pulsating light, and the understanding that every being carries a story meant to be shared. I watched as ripples expanded outward, acknowledging that my journey was merely one strand woven within a vast collective narrative, each life, a note in the grand symphony of the universe. I smiled at the revelations that unfurled before me, aware that my previous struggles had birthed beautiful connections, anchoring my place within this dance of life. I realized that the pursuit of knowledge had transformed into a quest for presence, an understanding nurtured by laughter, vulnerability, and the unending compassion of those around me. In that moment of recognition, I felt a warm surge of gratitude blossom within. It was a realization that true enlightenment would not be found in the destination or the fervent search for meaning, but rather in the joy of simply being alive and reaching out to another in hopes of connection. As the sun rose higher, bathing the world in golden light, a sense of peace enveloped me. I had arrived at a profound truth, a truth not confined to words or teachings, but one pulsing through all of Naturian intuitive knowing, both humbling and exhilarating. I understood now that life was not a puzzle to be solved but an adventure to be lived, each experience a stepping stone, each breath a reminder of the sacredness imbued in ordinary moments. With my heart full, I took a deep breath and whispered a silent vow to honor this understanding. I would carry the light of connection with me, allowing it to guide me through both darkness and dawn, facing the unknown with a spirit open to all possibilities. I stood at the water's edge and raised my arms to the sky, an offering of gratitude for the awakening that had graced my life. Thank you for the journey, I breathed, feeling the energy of the universe pulse around me, entwining my spirit within its embrace. May I continue to learn, to share, and to shine, and as I turned to leave, the breeze swept around me, rustling the grasses as if the earth itself echoed my vow. In that moment, I understood when we cease our search and truly embrace the unfolding, the sacred awakening simply find us, guiding us toward the potentiation of a life beautifully lived. It is the journey, not the destination, that reveals the sacred within us all.